Hey guys, how you doing? My name's Chuck Creekmur. I'm the CEO, co-founder of AllHipHop.com.
Great to see you, Chuck.
Hey, what's going on?
Everything. Everything's going on. It's great to see you guys working on this amazing project, Warriors, legendary film, iconic film, obviously.
Word.
I wanted to ask you why this film and why the medium?
Mm,
The shortest answer is this movie is my most watched movie. I saw it like most 80s kids on a friend's VHS when I was too young to see it, and have enjoyed the fact that it is like a totem of hip hop ever since. Like I gasp every time an MC references it. So I gasp pretty often from ODB to Common to LL just 2 weeks ago with the new album, the opening track, Spirit of Cyrus. And I think part of the power of the movie and its hold on hip hop and the culture is that it doesn't judge its characters.
yeah.
It's like it just puts us in the situation like every gang in New York's going to the Bronx with the promise of peace. That promise is shattered. The Warriors are blamed, and we just gotta get back home. And I think that's a very universal, beautiful, clear story. And in so it's been in my head for a long time. I knew that I needed someone smarter and cooler than me who's been making hip hop theater longer than me. And so I called Issa to work on it with me, and we've been working on it for the past few years.
Yeah. And this medium was really dope because we got to work with Mike Elizondo producing. And of course, we all know Mike Elizondo from his iconic work with Dre, with Eminem, with Busta,
50, yeah, everybody.
50. And he's someone who, like us, has a very, I want to say, like widespread, like appreciation of music. Like he loves every single genre that there is, as we do. And we got to put pretty much all of those on the album, and we got to work with him in his studio outside of Nashville with a band, right? To just really make the sound something that we thought maybe someone will sample this someday.
Yeah.
It was just really exciting to be able to do that on an album in a way that you would never be able to do on
Yeah,
a
I could
show.
never imagine remaking the movie, so we made a musical love letter to the movie.
Yeah.
So the obvious question is stage production. I know at one point you didn't feel like it would work, but what are your thoughts now?
Well, I think that musically exploring it this way cracked it for us because my big thing was like action movies and musicals are always fighting for the same real estate, right? In an action movie, when you can't talk anymore, you fight. When you can't talk anymore in a musical, you sing. And so that's a tricky divide, but the fun of doing it as an album is we score it and you
Hmm.
create the action sequence in your
In your
head.
head.
And we kind of did every approach. Like there's songs where by the end of the song they've won the fight. There's songs where you hear the fight in vivid
Hmm.
detail, where we dilate a moment and you're hearing every blow land. And so in doing lots of different approaches on the album, I
Hmm.
think we've made it easier for someone to one day down the line stage it because we've given them the blueprint. But
Hmm.
we just sort of forgave ourselves for like we don't have to stage a fight and write a musical at the same
Yeah.
time. Let's just write the songs that tell this story as best we
And this is
can.
something, that when Lynn was working on Hamilton, originally that was going to be just Hamilton mixtape first, right?
Hmm.
And then a show. So in some ways, this is like being able to do that, right? Is to have the album first. And yeah, who knows what this show will be? It's a
Yeah.
question.
We're not being coy. We don't have
We
like a
really,
secret
yeah,
director,
we
producer.
don't.
I will tell you, Nas can't wait for the show.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
he came aboard because we told him we were working on this and that's his favorite movie. And he was like, I can't wait till I can watch this every night. So,
Yeah.
he's been a big cheerleader and advocate in terms of getting the album made.
And I think, we really just wanted to make the album. It's an oral experience, but you really are you're supposed to be imagining the entire world. So it's just very visual in terms of what all of the lyrics are, and the
Yeah.
sound. Yeah.
Absolutely. We've seen some of these types of albums in the past.
Hmm.
Prince Paul, most recent, well,
Prince
Prince
Among
Paul.
Thieves,
Yeah, yeah, classic, legendary.
classic.
So you're very aware.
Steady
Um,
slobbing.
hip hop and theater is an interesting there's an interesting relationship. I think Hamilton absolutely really broke down a lot of walls and barriers.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on the relationship and how it's matured or evolved?
Well, listen, I mean, you're talking to one of the architects of it because, Issa wrote an amazing play called Angela's Mixtape that does that. She's a pioneer in hip hop theater and, existed long before I was writing anything. I remember Danny Hawk coming to speak at Wesleyan the year I was writing In the Heights, my
Mhm.
sophomore year, and Will Power. I mean,
Yes.
there's a whole world of amazing hip hop theater practitioners,
You
and we're
know,
proud to be a part of that. And I think for me, what they share is placing storytelling first and foremost, and
hmm
the fun has been in um, really like again like getting our arms around all of it. Like we get to tell you the story of warriors, but we also get to have an MC from every borough represent their boroughs in that opening number. So it's for us, it's just like yes and.
yeah. I think with hip hop theater, um, which I've long been an advocate of, as Lynn is saying, there's a really, really strong lineage. It's, I think that theater can have hip hop in it, and hip hop can have theater in it. If you think about, all the storytelling of a Slick Rick, for example, or you think about, again, you talked about Prince Paul or like all the De La skits, right? So it can be right there.
Yeah.
And I think theater is just broad enough and is a mother art, and it can hold all of these different genres. It can hold all, music, visual traditions from everywhere. So I think that they're beautifully matched. People always talk about like Shakespeare being like, a hip hop, MC. You know what I mean? And something that actually goes to this particular project is that one of the very first pieces of hip hop theater I ever saw was something called Club 12, which was a hip hop version of Twelfth Night that Ms. Lauryn Hill was in.
Mm.
And what's even wilder is that I was working at the time for Craig Colman, who, runs Atlantic, but this is back when he had his house label, Big Beat Records. So
Oh,
it's just all been really incredible, the serendipity of this project. But yeah, I think, there's so many different, people like, um, what was the Tupac show? Do you remember
Holler
that?
if you hear me.
Holla If You Hear Me.
Yeah.
oh,
Up
William.
Against the Wind was another one that had Anthony Mackie in it. I mean, there's just such a strong, strong tradition of hip hop theater, and it's not as unexpected a collaboration as you would think.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna send both of you some information on Master Ace's new film, Falling Season.
Oh, we're going to
Yes.
see it.
Yeah.
We're
Oh,
just wait. We've just been trying to line up dates
Yeah.
with Master
okay.
Ace, but we're in touch
Yeah.
with him.
Oh, good. I sent a word through my man Riggs, and I know you know
Yeah,
Riggs.
yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Riggs has been trying to set it up. We just got to get it on the other side of the press tour, and we're gonna watch. Oh, I can't wait to see it. Love, long time fan of Master Ace.
Yeah. And I
Great.
think I used to work for Rap Sheet, if you remember Rap Sheet.
Oh, I'm a journalist. Heck yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I worked for Rap Sheet in LA. Like my first interview was Diggable Planets when they were guests on In Living Color. It was also their first
Eat the
interview.
chocolate, step to my right.
And like was in the studio when like Dre was recording The Chronic with Snoop. So it was such an amazing time. It was such an amazing time. And that always, even if I'm not working on something that's hip hop, that time just like informs my work always.
We're kindred spirits. My first
Yeah.
interview was a Tribe Called Quest, and Black Sheep.
Yeah.
So yeah, great times, great times. Now
So
you have
good.
Miss Lauryn Hill as Cyrus. You're reimagining some things. Can y'all talk about that a little bit? Just the
Yeah,
you
we
know,
had no plan B for Cyrus.
okay.
Like Lauryn Hill was the only MC we could imagine that would unite everyone in New York. Like it's at midnight and it's in the South Bronx. It's Lauryn Hill. We got to go. So again, like I think it's a testament to her work that all these years after Miseducation, we still talk about that as one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time. And there's an authority that comes with that songwriting and her spirit that made her the most credible unifying force for our album in particular, especially with our female warriors being like, if they're going to leave the safety of the neighborhood they've made their own, like it's to see Miss Hill as Cyrus in the South Bronx. And, you know, me texting Suzette Williams every week for a year until we got a Dropbox with these incredible vocals. It's amazing we never had a plan B for that.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, what will there be any other changes to the storylines that we can talk about, or
It depends. When's your piece running?
when you wanted to run?
Because I think after the album comes out, I think it's all
Yeah.
fair game. But like, I will say that like, I think one of the things Issa hooked into when she came aboard was there's this promise of peace that gets everyone to the South Bronx in the first place.
Right.
And in the movie, that really shatters as soon as Cyrus is assassinated. And Issa, without spoilers, if this runs beforehand, has found a way to bring that promise of peace throughout so that it doesn't die when Cyrus dies, in a way that I think is really powerful and also organic to the story. Like it was always in the movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't like brought to the forefront. So I think that, you know, with me having seen that movie when I was 4 and having no critical distance from it, it's just my most watched movie, to Issa, who came in with and latched onto certain things, like what we've created together is something neither of us could have created alone.
Yeah, because I think, you know, the assassination of that Cyrus character, you know, it creates this chaos, right? But it also, I think, goes back to this question that we can always look at when it comes to, you know, how assassinations have changed our history in this country, is what was the message? What was the message of the person who was taken out? And that is something that never dies. It's like Martin Luther King's dream never dies. Malcolm X's dreams, they don't die. And that's what we wanted to, you know, make sure was manifest in this album.
Okay, okay, this is a tough question, but can you guys give maybe a joint top 5 dead or alive? Are you guys
Miss
able
Lauryn
to-
Hill is one of them.
She's on mine.
Okay.
Yeah. I
I have pun on mine.
And
So I'm
I-
thrilled that we have
Good.
Chris Rivers on our album.
Yeah.
I put also like Andre 3000. We have Andre 3000, and that also goes for guest verses. He's
Yeah.
in my top 5.
I have an album of I have a playlist that's just his guest verses in my playlist, because that's damn near 2 albums worth of material since Outkast.
I also have to add Chuck D.
Of course, fight the power.
Is in my type.
Right, Nas is in mine. You're also going to see a little West Coast East Coast divide here. She's from the Bay. How many do I have?
I know. I just said 2 or 3. 3. I think. I mean, God, it's so tough when you always say the top 5 because they just change. But I also want to put in kind of combined is De La.
Fair enough, of course.
You know, combined.
Yeah.
Like including.
And then just because it's the first songs that I learned growing up is KRS-One.
Oh yes. I mean that's so.
BDP was like.
Oh my gosh, BDP will
the songs
teach you.
I learned on the bus, like Beef. What a relief!
Right. Oh my God, I'm gonna put my throwback playlist on. Yeah. Hey guys, I just wanted to say thank you so much. Last question, and you answer quickly because they're on me. Streaming albums, albums are not a thing anymore.
I know.
It's single based. Can you quickly discuss the putting together of an album, a body of work versus singles, and the consumption of today?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just, we wrote it as a narrative so that, every single point is connected, like all the dots are connected, and we want that entire arc to be something that people will listen to. So it's just kind of like, a turbo version of an album, a concept album, right? It's that every single track you know, affects the others.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to listen to the whole thing and not put it on shuffle, you know, and not listen to it as a single, but the whole of it.
And we know folks love to read along
Yeah.
still, even if it's a single, because when Kendrick came out, he broke Genius.com for 20 minutes.
Yep.
We were together when that
Yes,
happened.
we
We're
were
like,
like, where are the lyrics?
he broke it. So, you know, our hope is that people listen to this and read along. You know, you can go to your website of choice. We're going to make a PDF downloadable available even for streamers.
Yeah.
So that even if you didn't buy the vinyl, you can download like all the lyrics and read them the way we formatted them and edited them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our hope, is that people come back to 79 with us and read along.
Yeah.
Thank you. I salute you both. Continue.
Thank you so much. Great to talk to you.
You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.